The chair of the Federal Election Commission declares that this election is indeed illegitimate, as Michigan Republicans are intimidated into certifying irregular votes. In this video, we're going to take a look at the stunning assessment of the highest-ranking member of the FEC, how Republicans have once again buckled under the intimidation tactics of the rabid left, and why the rise of a third party to challenge these gutless Republicans may indeed be in the making as we speak. You are not going to want to miss this. Welcome, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you, ready to bring you our latest episode celebrating the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You know, we'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel that focuses each and every day on optimism and encouragement in the midst of all the defeatist fake news spewed out by the mainstream media. Before we get into it, let me tease you a little bit here, if I may. I've got a big reveal coming on this Friday, and you'll want to make sure that you're subscribed to our email list to stay up to date on that big announcement. Just click on the link below, sign up to our email list, not only so that we can stay in touch in the midst of all this crazy cancel culture that we find ourselves in, but so that you can stay up to date on our big announcement this Friday. And finally, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's Prepper's Peak new solar water heater. With all of the lockdowns we just witnessed over the last several months, this solar water heater can turn out to be our very best friend. A solar water heater is an amazing device. It allows you to heat and boil water outdoors using simply sunlight. It can heat water in as little as 30 minutes and it'll work anywhere the sun shines. You can use it to boil water, to cook noodles and rice. You could use it to sterilize water for drinking. Perfect for you campers out there. It's easy to clean, can be used anywhere there's sunlight. And the best part is that if you click on the link below, you will actually get an additional 15% off their already reduced price. So don't wait. It is a limited time offer. Click on that link below before they sell out and get your own Patriot Sun cooker today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. The chairman of the Federal Election Commission, a fellow by the name of Trey Traynor, turned heads the other day when he came out and said bluntly, this election is illegitimate. During an appearance on Newsmax TV, the FEC chairman accused precincts that blocked access by Republican observers to oversee the ballot counting process as most certainly able to be charged with voter fraud. In fact, he went on to say that it would appear voter fraud was fairly obviously going on. Otherwise, why deny access to the Republican observers? And things have gotten even worse because just a day or two after November 3rd, Republican operatives such as Corey Lewandowski were granted a court order to access the ballot counting in Pennsylvania and Philly, and they were denied. They were stopped at the front door. They were not allowed access to the votes, even though they actually had court order in hand. And so the FEC chairman observed that when precincts are denying access to Republican observers, who by law are required to have access, obviously something's going on. Again, this is the Federal Election Commission chairman saying this, gang, okay? And he put it this way, I'll quote him. Our whole political system is based upon transparency to avoid the appearance of corruption. State law allows those observers to be in there, adding that if the law isn't being followed, then this election is, by definition, illegitimate. Again, this is the assessment, not of some conspiracy kook or one of Trump's lawyers or a talk radio personality. This is the assessment of the chairman of the Federal Election Commission, right, whose purpose is to enforce campaign finance law in federal elections. Now, Lou Dobbs of Fox Business, one of the few remaining angels over at the Fox News Network, on his show the other day, he revealed that he has what he calls a highly reliable source who told him that the FBI has an investigative team looking into the 2020 election. Now, this corroborates an earlier report that said that the FBI has indeed launched 3 formal investigations into voter fraud, 2 in Michigan and 1 in Pennsylvania. Along the same lines, Attorney General Bill Barr has announced that he's authorized the Department of Justice to look into what he is calling substantial allegations of voter fraud. Barr announced that investigations will be conducted if there are clear and apparently credible allegations of irregularities that, if true, could potentially impact the outcome of a federal election in an individual state. And in addition, 10 state AGs, attorney generals, have announced a case against Pennsylvania mail-in ballots on behalf of the Republican Attorneys General Association. In their amicus brief to the Supreme Court, the AGs are urging the court to overturn the 4-3 decision handed down by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which in effect changed Pennsylvania law that required that all mail-in ballots be received by 8 p.m. on Election Day, November 3rd, when the polls officially close. They're charging that this was a blatant act of legislating from the bench, as well as a violation of the U.S. Constitution, since Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution gives the sole authority to prescribe the time, place, and manner of elections to state legislatures, not to courts, not to electors, not to Secretary of States, but legislatures and legislatures alone. So there does seem to be a lot of activity going on behind the scenes of Trump's own legal team and the cases they're bringing before the courts. Now, let's move on to what happened last night in Michigan. Now, I'm sure you all heard about this. I don't know if you realize how close President Trump was to winning the election last night. In fact, I would say that for about an hour or so, Michigan's electoral votes more or less moved to Trump. But what happened is that Wayne County electors, which includes Detroit, they were deadlocked over certifying the vote in Wayne County, all right? There's simply too many voting discrepancies, obviously. And so in a vote of 2-2, I believe there are 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats on the board of canvassers there, they basically failed to certify the Wayne County vote, which meant that Michigan would end up certifying its votes without Wayne County, the largest county there, which meant that Trump basically won Michigan in a nutshell. Well, we now know that those 2 Republicans reversed course and voted to certify the county's election results due to enormous, shall we say, pressure by the Democrats. So once again, Republicans pulled a Paul Ryan and caved to the Democrats. So they did what gutless, cowardly, feckless bureaucrats always do. We'll pass it, we'll certify it, but somebody has to come along and audit these votes that we just certified. Which, of course, begs the question, what the hell are we doing? What are we auditing if the vote's already been legitimized? Once again, Republican officials have told at least 73 million Americans to F off. We're going with the Democrats. We're a part of the super party, a duopoly that Trump is disrupting. And so we don't want anything to do with him or, frankly, with you. So this is why I was talking to the Insiders members in last night's deep dive about this. We seriously have to consider, when this is all done, we seriously have to consider the formation of a third party, which many Republicans are already doing, which we'll get into in a moment. But first, I do want to invite all of you to an exclusive Q&A that I'm holding this Thursday, November 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for all of our Insiders Club members. I want you to join me in our international team of Turley Talkers all across the world as I answer your questions and help you think better so you can feel better about everything that's going on with this election in light of the rise of a new conservative age. Now, if you're not a part of the Insiders Club, you don't want to miss out on this Q&A. So all you need to do is click on that link down below in the pinned comment section, join my exclusive club right now, and to make it even sweeter for you, we're going to give you a free 2-week trial so you can be a part of the Q&A tomorrow night. Ask me questions. And in fact, this is a brand new feature for our Insiders members only, where you get direct access to me and we get direct access to one another to strategize in the days ahead. So make sure to click on that link below, become an Insiders member with your first 2 weeks absolutely free. And I'll see you Thursday night for our live Q&A. All right, so let's talk about the prospects of a third party here. I think it's important to note that this is not necessarily to replace the Republican Party, which frankly at this point wouldn't be a bad idea, but it's rather to force them to embrace our side, the nationalist, populist, and traditionalist wing of the party, which of course is upwards of 70, probably 80 million strong. Now, this is what Nigel Farage did in Britain. If you recall, Theresa May, the leader of the Tories, not only campaigned against Brexit originally, but then she tried to thwart it as prime minister when she was negotiating with the EU. And the Conservatives, the Tories, same thing. They looked like they were betraying their constituency who overwhelmingly voted for Brexit. So as the European Parliament elections were coming up, Nigel Farage said, that's it. We're not standing for this kind of betrayal anymore. And so he formed his own party called the Brexit Party, literally weeks before the European parliamentary vote, which was back in May of 2019. And as a result of putting together a viable and faithful Brexit party, 1 out of every 3 British voters voted for them, voted for the Brexit Party, literally when it was just 6 weeks old. They crushed the Conservatives. They trampled them. They trampled the Tories, right? The Tories are utterly humiliated in that election. If I recall, they came in 5th place as a result of a viable Conservative third party. But here's where it gets really cool. As a result, Theresa May resigned. And the Conservative Party, they're also known as the Tories in Britain, they turned around and fully embraced Brexit. They became the Brexit Party, in effect, but now as a major political party. And so when it came to their snap elections in December of last year, December of 2019, the Brexit Party stood down. Nigel Farage said, hey, if the Tories are going to be fully committed to implementing Brexit, we will step down and support their MPs, their candidates for members of parliament. And the Conservatives ended up winning in the single greatest landslide we've seen in Britain in the last 100 years. So that's the rationale, at least for me, and seriously considering backing a third party here. We need to radically pressure the Republicans to an unwavering fidelity to their constituency, their 73 million, or perhaps, again, as much as 80 million strong constituency. If we can finally get the Republicans to step up and push back against Democrat radicals, there is simply no end to what we'll be able to accomplish as a nation in the months and years ahead. So, of course, we'll continue to keep a close eye on how things develop here. But again, there is absolutely no question this election is not over. And we're going to continue to give you daily updates on the latest developments to give President Trump the re-election that he rightfully won on November 3rd. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video on how the stunning evidence that's emerged may indeed overturn the presidential election as Nevada tosses 153,000 ballots and President Trump gains in Georgia. How's that, right? You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.